Anyway, the world is yours. If there are no more shenanigans, you are at Mantis HQ. We can say Vera has left. If you guys don't have any more business with her, she's headed her way back home. Or if there's anything else you'd like to ask her or talk to her about, we can say she's still there. But other than that, the world is yours. You do have free reign of the world of Eberron. You have your most recent obligation. I've been trying to give y'all your quest board. The only real quest left on your quest board, probably the two big ones would be if you're going to go explore Xen'Drik's, it's about that time, because otherwise, now that the shard is being taken to Bree, Kalden's organization can go begin to look at that. And the only other quest bullet would probably be investigating the rest of the notes that were left to you that you took from the camp, the Warforgery camp. Or I guess sub-quote, investigate the Book of Darkness.
Wait, you said we still had the notes to go through from the camp?
Yeah, because it was a big chest of them. You didn't get all the information you could glean, and so it's in the Diamond Theater now, in a place where you guys or Sly or an agent could view those.
So the other question: are we still on the 21st of Ron?
It is the 22nd of Ron.
22nd.
Thank you.
I need to re-roll some stuff. Or no, I only re-roll those on a long rest.
You do only re-roll those on a long rest. Is it 22nd? Where's my fucking calendar?
No, Devin, the 22nd.
Or 22nd. So tomorrow will be another long rest.
Amos will suggest to the party that we take a further look at these documents. I don't mind to help with that investigation, or I feel like getting a couple of people on it might make it go by a little quicker.
I'd also volunteer my services for the sake of arguing that I could check for any thieves' cant or anything that might be in there that otherwise would not have been noticed.
Point.
Most I could do is religion check.
Can we assume it would be an investigation check?
Yes. Okay. And what I've been doing for this is hey, it's not how much you get or what you get, it's how long it takes you. And you guys have done this a couple of times now with the same cipher. So it does get a little easier each time. So it sounds like, if no one's opposed, you guys mosey over to the Diamond Theater. You walk right in with your VIP passes that double as special agent badges to the right people. Mosey on down to the backstage and find the door Sly gave you directions to and give it the arcane lock password. You guys mosey on in there and begin your looking. No one tries to stop you. They all, if they don't know who you are, they saw the badges. Let me see. It's going to be a maximum of 2 investigation checks. You guys know the rules by now.
I forgot that Randy is he's stealthy, but he's also stupid. So investigation's not very good. If anybody else would like to step in,
I was going to say I have a +3. I don't know if we can rule that second person gives advantage. If anyone has higher, I'm more than happy to help them.
Yeah, second person can give advantage for sure. Maximum of 2. It can be the same person.
Once, twice.
If nobody else steps up, I'll give you advantage.
Those are both juicy. Damn.
Juicy. So, and really in the past, it's been Randy, Demos, and Zephyr that have all kind of been tag teaming these documents. But Demos, you've had quite a bit of practice at this. So in the past, I'm going to reiterate some stuff I've said in the past. Lots of fiscal documents. Lots of like how much businesses are earning. Lots of personal information for these business owners. Zephyr was able to determine last time y'all looked at this stuff, there's a lot of blackmail information here. A lot and a lot of no longer illusions, but hard evidence of extortion, manipulation, kidnapping, things of that nature. You go on to find Demos as you're looking through it. Probably the 2 biggest things I think you would take away. The first one is that the non-written information appears to be a map. Maybe map's a strong word. It's definitely directions on how to get, to the best that you can tell, a place beneath Shard, down in the foundry level. You believe that with a small amount more time, no rolls or anything needed, you could figure out how to get to where this map is outlining you to go. The second thing you take away is you get a little bit of information about what these implants you guys found in Surge. You get a little bit of information about those in the sense that it brings to light. I've mentioned before that there are several places in the documents that don't make sense. Like it's missing information. Like they're operating off of information that's not present in the documents. You gather pretty quickly that these seem to be because of the chips. That there seems to be a whole layer of communication that's happening psionically that is not present in the documentation. In the documents, sorry, documentation. Kill me. And you put together pretty quickly that in these places that don't make sense, that the context must be being filled in psionically. So demos can draw pretty quickly. This implies a rather large psionic network, and it implies that orders have to be being handed down from a source. With that might be an arcane roll. I'm going to say with those rolls, you deduce that the amount of information you see in front of you, that there is probably a pretty defined hierarchy in order to disseminate this much information in an organized way. I'll also say, I think with that roll, that you can gather more of this, I'm going to say the word finally, this cult's modus operandi. They seem to be mostly financially operating. There is lots of evidence of paying people off, extorting people for more money, and generally using coin as their mode of power to get things done that they need to do. You begin to understand that a lot of the businesses that don't have blackmail material must be owned by them or otherwise a front for them. The other ones have been extorted into doing as they say. That seems that you can't find a terrible amount of what I would call terror, like a terrorist cell might have. They seem to be much more under the radar, operating it through economic means more so than violent means. You also see
So Mafia versus Taliban.
In a sense, I think also I'm going to throw in the section where you're having trouble because you're not part of whatever psionic communications is going on. You see the word colony mentioned several times. Yeah, sorry, I thought that might make you make a face.
Ooh, colony.
Yeah, I'm like, get Drex and Cordo on this. What's up? What do you know about this?
Was it some kind of like hive mind, you think?
I think we this can go one of two ways. The way I want it to go, I think, is have Cordo infect the colony and take over the colony. But then the repercussions of that might be.
Hey, Cordo approves, man. Let's do it.
You're better at fighting. First, we should do
I don't know that, I don't know if this helps any, but I am going to add, I think, because you rolled so high, that you believe this map, this area, this next place that you have found, been directed to or whatever, is very likely their main operating base in Sharn, and you believe it could be where people are being implanted with these chips. So I wanted to reward those rolls. Sometimes I'm so vague, I feel like I'm too vague.
Excellent. So, the Xen'Drik's investigation had to do with the shard, where they found it, what its origins were, correct?
So the reason you guys were proffered to go back is because once they found the shard, they pulled it out, extracted it, and left immediately. It was revealed to Calden a couple of days after they got back that there were sections that had been crumbled in that they had never got to explore. So there are whole sections of that dig site that they just haven't been in yet. And since they were busy studying the shard, you guys were offered to go and do that for them. They offered you guys some money. They offered you a certain amount per artifact brought back, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, I don't want to sway y'all either way.
Well, it appears to me we have two primary directions we could take. We could pursue this colony's base a little closer, or we could take ourselves to Xen'Drik's and try to see if we can't uncover any other artifacts. Does anybody have any strong opinions one way or the other?
From a calendar standpoint, we're not on like a strict timeline for when we're going to go do the thing, right? Like we know when the ship should be ready theoretically, but it's not like as soon as the ship's ready, you have to take off immediately.
For sure.
Okay. So we should have time for both, and we've put off this shard thing for quite a long time. So my vote would maybe be to go do that.
Okay, one for Shard. What do we think, fam?
Yeah, I agree with Josh. We could easily do both. So I say we go Sharn to see if we can find some artifacts, then go to the colony.
Okay. I think Deimos is inclined to also check out the Shard more so than this. Maybe even with the thought that whatever we uncover, we may uncover something that could make this next adventure a little easier. Maybe we'll be empowered and we will feel more fortuitous and more proficient in our abilities and pick up a new skill or two. Who
Agreed.
knows?
Actually, funny you say
Get
that.
some mighty weapon.
Fast
That
forward
is-
to after the shard's over, and it's just like it's a cutscene of Deimos just stabbing Randy in the back of his carapace with a piece of rock, and then like he starts glowing.
When you
What?
accidentally skip a scene or skip a cutscene in Baldur's Gate 3 and lose all context of what's happening.
It's funny you say that. Now that you've said that, that is the last milestone for this level. So,
What is Xen'Drik's?
mhm.
Well,
So good for you guys. It's funny you said that.
Here we
And
go.
now that you've decided to do that, and I'm not swaying any opinions, it may not have been necessary, but it was more MSQ than side quest. So hopefully you guys will have some fun. How'd you like to get there? Looks like Joey's dying, throwing up, or shitting, or all the above.
I'm sorry, I just had a coughing fit.
It's all good. You can be teleported there. Might be a little risky because it is an old teleportation circle they've rebuilt. You can fly there. I think I said it would take 2 weeks, so I'm going to stick to that.
As a note, if we fly there, we will almost certainly miss our meeting with Vimac. If it takes 2 weeks there and 2 weeks back.
How far away is that exactly?
Today's the 21st, right? Or the 22nd?
Today's the 22nd. Y'all are meeting on the 5th, right? Or the 6th of the next month?
Yeah, the 5th of the next month.
In 2 weeks. Are we saying, I forget if we're doing 10 days or if we're doing 7-day weeks.
It is 7-day weeks on this calendar.
I think that'll put us right at 2 weeks.
Really close. And I think it would be the DM's ruling. We would show up. Technically, I think we would be off by a couple of days.
I'm more inclined to take the long trip because I can enchant some more shit for us. I feel like I would like to get everybody have a little extra protection before we get out on the other side of the storm.
Here's a question I have. The rock takes 3 days by ship, right? Are we going past the rock to get where we're going? If so, then we gain those 3 days back, and we would actually pass the rock on the exact day we're supposed to be there by my quick math.
No, because technically you're not flying out. You're flying. It would be like taking an airship somewhere as opposed to flying out into space. You would stay in atmosphere. I think the rock takes 2 weeks too. I don't think it's 3 days.
I thought it was 3. I don't know why.
I also thought it was closer than 2 weeks.
Personally, I don't care.
Wait, we can't. In our airships, I know they're Spelljammers, but it would take us 2 weeks to get to a different point on Eberron?
Sorry, I was checking the rock. The rock is 2 weeks. Yes, I think the thought process there is that you're not gravityless anymore, because even an airship moving around Sharn takes multiple weeks, months to track across the globe. You're traveling in an arc instead of flying in a straight line wherever you're going.
can we like out of atmosphere go against the curvature of the Earth to increase our speed time and then land?
That's what we do in No Man's Sky.
I'm just saying. Like,
That's
Oof.
funny.
Sorry to stretch.
we could reach out to. I could message or no shit. I don't think I have sending. If I do have this,
A1 does.
Oh, yeah, sending, and not just message.
I think he learned that from Vera the last time because we asked if she could teach it to him.
I do not know it. If we can have him message Vimac, which I don't know if he was with us when we. I assume he's always with us, but
I assume he stays out of danger. Like when it's appropriate, y'all lock him in a closet or something to keep him safe.
purple tank. Yeah, I think if we can get him to message Vimac and be like, "Hey, if we can just move that like 2 days, 2 or 3 days, I think we'll be set."
That's not too hard to do. You guys go to,
Steak sauce.
you guys go to Steak Sauce. I've already showed y'all his updated art. I think I did. Some of it I wanted to save to be a surprise. Let me make sure I posted that. Yeah. Put that in general. Everybody can see it. This is what he looks like now. It looks a lot better than that
Bender. Oh,
that other token that I was using.
Oh, he looks like the Nautilus dude from fucking Spoopy game. What the fuck is that?
Bioshock.
Bioshock
That's what I said.
Bioshock. Oh god.
does. Anyway, that's not too hard. You go to him, you tell him. He sends the message per your, he would ask for a more exact wording. You guys give him the wording, he spits it back out to Vimac, and he's standing there for a moment, kind of his head tilted. And there
Suddenly
was
a string of paper starts.
no response.
Interesting. Did we include? You can reply to this message with.
I'm gonna assume you did, because you always fucking do.
I like to think that there, like, when the response comes back, it's like his mouth like starts spitting out like a roll of thermal paper, and it's just that's like connectivity issue. Reset your Ethernet cables.
No response. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that bodes well for our meeting at all.
Is sending like a leveled spell?
Yeah, it's level 3, I think.
Oh, so he could probably only do that like one time.
I mean, he doesn't have spell slots per se. I'm still trying to decide exactly how to think about that.
Sounds broken, but okay. Because I'm in my mind, I'm like,
damn it, he can do unlimited sending. He can do unlimited fireball, man.
bro.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We have to limit that to like utility spells only.
If we're doing that, I will send him idle threats the entire time we're flying to our destination. I swear, if you don't show up, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna gut you.
No, A1 doesn't need to sleep. He could just spit out a continuous stream of insults to our enemies to try to like deprive them of rest.
You're turning your charge into a satellite. Good job.
I mean,
what else are you supposed to do with a
turn
robot?
a rock into a wrestling arena. What the fuck do you want from us?
I know. That's all. I didn't. This is just. I've never seen Flash Gordon, but I have to assume we're all just as goofy.
I'm surprised you even know what that is. Damn.
The Spelljammer book literally tells you to go watch Flash Gordon for inspiration. It's the only example they give for inspiration. So.
Listen, Flash Gordon rules. Okay.
That's the whole section on how to build Spelljammer theme. Go watch Flash Gordon. Worst book I've
Oh,
ever
dude,
read.
hell yeah.
They could have at least referenced Firefly or something. Come on, do better.
Flash.
That whole book is come on, do better. Y'all heard me bitch about it before. Is there anything else you would like to do? Sounds like y'all want to fly there. I will rule that with some fancy flying, you could make it in a week. That doesn't help you with your meeting time, but
Well, no, if we have a week, but then it's 2 weeks out from that point, so it's 3 weeks total to get to the rock. Yeah.
it's 2 weeks to get to the rock. You're going
but
to
it's a week
Xen'Drik.
Yeah, a week to get to Xen'Drik's, 2 weeks to get from there to the rock.
Yes.
So 3 weeks.
Sorry, I thought you would be flying back.
This after our intended meeting date.
You could also let Cyrilius know. I think you
That's
guys
what I was gonna
told
say.
I
him.
was just thinking that. Yeah. We could have our GIF friend. GIF.
GIFF. GIF.
GIF. Could have our GIF friend. Oh, are they opposing organizations? I know that.
No, they know each other. He knew who you were referencing when you talked about it. Both of them knew each other by reputation.
We could certainly tell Cyrilius that we have an expected visitor on a certain day and ask if he wouldn't mind to tell him we're running just a few days late. And if he wants to get a hold of us to answer our damn calls, and let's say when we're done, when we're done at Xen'Drik's, we can have A1 reach out again. And if he doesn't answer on the second ring, then we might have some Rubal.
Yeah, okay. I'm down
You
with
guys
that.
have A1 deliver that message. I like to think it's almost a little creepy but I like to think he speaks in Cyrilius's voice. So there's this big, deep hippo voice just coming out of this little fucking robot. Good to hear from all of you. I will for sure do that. If I see Vimac, I will grab a hold of him and make sure he doesn't leave and pass on your message. Be safe, Wildspacers. Oh, kitchen flashbacks.
Heard Chef.
Kitchen flashbacks.
Kitchen printer. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. You deliver that message to Cyrilius. Is there anything else you guys would like to do before you head to Xen'Drik, the continent of Xen'Drik? I do remember that movie.
That's all I can think of.
I'll say let's go.
Yeah, I think so.
Do it.
I heard 3. Okay. I hope you guys are prepared because it sounds like you are sort of prepared. What are y'all doing on the week there? We can just go there if you want, but I think you guys wanted to do some stuff.
No, we are going to do some enchanting. Let me look at my inventory real quick just to see exactly how much shit I have.
So I guess you're taking the Wasp, yeah? It's the only one really available. The other one's on the rock.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't have a...
I'm going to put y'all on the Wasp ship for fun.
I've got 3K in gem dust, which is pretty solid. I think I also have in this chat... Nope, it's not in this chat. Son of a bitch. Probably in game notes.
Oh, this is the one that actually has, like, stuff in it, like beds and shit.
Okay,
Well,
so... What third level spells do I have? It's a week. I'm thinking, shit. Tempting. I could, alright, so I'm thinking this one's gonna be for Cordo Drix. Buddy, I could get you something that lets you do a short range teleport. I can get you something to try to lock somebody down. Or I can try to give you something that's going to deal a bit of damage, but I don't know exactly how it'll work, like, on the item I'm enchanting.
Honestly, a short range teleport sounds awesome.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to spend for a level 2 spell, that's a common, that's 100 gold, that's 2 days. I'm going to... Do you have a particular item you want me to put it on?
Actually, no.
2 days?
Hmm.
Wasn't the last one you did like 4 days?
So it's 50 gold per day. A level 2 item is a common... Excuse me, a second level spell is an uncommon. I apologize. I didn't realize cantrip was a part of this chart. So uncommon is 500 gold, which takes...
That's 50 gold a day.
Now, is that per day, or can I double up and do... If I have 2 level 2 spell slots, can I do it 2 in a day? I'll still spend the 500 gold, just hoping to cut down that time on...
I think you can. And I think the reason that mine took so long was because we were putting multiple charges on there too.
We were using the abjurative nature of the thing. Snake, the Naga.
Where do you... Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, can you send me what you're reading and where it says 50 gold per day?
It's in the
not
game
worded
notes
that way?
chat.
Heard.
It
It's
is
not
a
worded
game-
that way, is it? It's pinned, heard.
It says, An item has a creation cost for crafting that item. Character engaged. Oh no! In
25 gold increments, spending that amount for each day of work till the total cost is paid. The character is assumed to work for 8 hours each of those days.
25 gold for 500. That would be 20 days. Hang on. Yeah, 20 days.
So I think the idea here, what most, I think maybe not most, but what Matt Mercer's done, and I think what we've done in the past, is each person, if someone else knew that spell, they could also help you and reduce. It would cut it in half essentially if they also worked on it every day. That is
Does
all
anyone
I can
else know
stress.
Misty Step? Zephyr, maybe?
He has a Starlight Step. I would rule he could help. DM Fiat
Yeah,
says
yeah, that's
yes.
Starlight Step.
So
I
if
have a Misty Step.
if 3 of us do it daily,
And
and I mean do it, if 4 of us, because Echo's got a duplicate with him, if
That'd be
if
5 days.
the 3 of us work on it and put 2 charges in it, how would we rule that?
5 days.
5 days for 2 charges of a 2nd level spell for 3 people working on it.
Because it would be 20 if it was you. It's 10 with Zephyr helping, 5 with Echo helping.
Sorry, I do not have Misty Step. Maybe that was Orin.
You lying bastard. No, it's okay. So 10 days.
Plus, the other thing is, I don't know if I'd be able to do it every day with our long rest rules anyway.
I don't think. Does it say it uses the spell slot? I don't think it does.
If it was an ability, it usually resets on a long rest. But
Oh, you
like I
do
said,
have
I
to
don't have
expend
it.
the spell slot.
that's how we rolled it last time.
This
I
is much
can-
much more well balanced than I originally thought it was.
So the Starlight Step, is that an action or a bonus action, or does it reset on a short rest or a long rest?
Let me double check. Oh, I thought it was.
I think it's a bonus action.
Because if it's a short rest, then I mean that you kind of got an infinite loop on that every day without expending really a resource.
I do also have Misty Step. That's once a long rest.
Now,
I'm looking
Warlock
for
spell slot-
Starlight Step is I can magically teleport. It's just 3 per long rest.
3 per long rest, which is
But you
Plus-
get a long rest every
which
3
would be
days.
1 day. So that would still work. Deimos has 3 level 2 spell slots, so that would be fine on his end as far as using them cycling through.
And I do also have a I don't know if that'll help adding that in.
Kind of lost you for a second. You have a what?
I have Misty Step as well, if we want to add that one into the loop as well.
Well, you only contribute once because you contribute. It's because it's by gold
Okay.
amount.
Okay, got you.
Let me ask you a question. Don't we have an item that lets you Misty Step? Is it a one-time use thing?
It is the amulets. I think.
Talisman?
Yeah.
I don't know if they have. I don't know if we have a Misty Step one in particular. Let me look at our.
All right,
I
here's what
think
we're
you
gonna
took
do.
a misty. I think you took 2 Misty Step ones off those bodies that Zephyr.
We had 2 Feather Falls, 1 Teleport, 1 Misty Step.
Mm,
That Teleport is like a level 5 or 7, whatever the fuck that is, spell. I mean,
man.
that's an emergency eject button.
Mm-hmm.
We do have the 1 Misty Step Talisman, but it would be 1 use, 1 time. I would like to try to give. I think it would also help just to have the added mobility.
Yeah.
For our melee boys.
What if Zephyr used Starlight Step for the enchantment and then used the Misty Step charges every day to try and teach A1 how to learn Misty Step so that he could contribute?
I will allow him to learn Misty Step because it is a utility spell, and it kind of makes sense. You want him to be able to get away from things. And for the sake of this, I will say you guys taught him before you blasted off.
Bless you, sir. So the 3 of us, 5 days, 2 charges of a level 2 spell. And then 500 gold of dust. Is that accurate?
I believe so. Technically, by the math, it's 6.5 days, but I'm sticking with 5 days.
As long as it's within the week, that still gets us good. I assume because of the rotation of that we would have a long rest before, right?
Well, that's what I'm
But
about to
we
go
get
look
one-
at real
if we
fast.
Good
get-
news is,
If we
it was
get one tomorrow, and then we
Yeah.
get one in
Mhm.
another 3 and another 3, that last one would be on the 7th day. So I think we would get one right before we get there.
Let's find out. Story calendar. Okay. So you guys blast off on the 22nd. You do some enchanting that day, I'm assuming.
Can we say we blast off the 23rd just to buy ourselves an extra? We wrap up
Yes.
any business we have on the 22nd. We take off.
You teach A1 on the 22nd.
There
Okay,
we
so
go, yeah.
that night you blast off. That first night in space, you get a long rest. Everyone, please hit your long rest button if you're not already long rested up. So you blast off that day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So technically, you arrive on the 2nd of Sephiroth. Your next long rest is the 4th of Sephiroth.
Which means we just got one on the 1st of Zephyr.
Yes, sir.
So we got one right before we got here. If it's 6
Yes, sir.
days to enchant the thing, we should be refreshed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
I like this sir shit. So what do you want this on?
Yes. Yes, sir. One word.
Didn't you hear that, bud?
What's up? Sorry.
What do you want this enchantment on? You want it on a weapon? You want it on?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it on my Mithril Gathka.
Oh no, I love that.
That way I can maybe use like the teleport as a like ranged melee attack. Or teleport over there and slash at the same time.
I like to think like raises, get swooshes 30 feet, slashes down.
Bang.
Like
so,
Alucard, sort of.
uh,
Alucard turns red dash thing. Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Zep-
Oh yeah.
Zephyr Deimos and A1 work on this for a few days, and you have Misty Step twice a day, or excuse me, twice per long rest. I don't know how you want to do the reset rules.
I think it should be. Most of those are like,
At dawn.
yeah. So that's probably what I'll. Devin, edit Ben's Githka. Edit Drix's Githka. Give it charges. Okay.
All right, I'll dock the gold from our inventory. That's the only thing I wanted to do on the trip.
Is there anything else the rest of you would like to do while you're flying through wild space? Cue up obligational me describing space fauna and flora. Just looks like you're underwater, but much more colorful and no oxygen. Less oxygen. Maybe I should say.
Well, to not be useless, I guess Echo. Well, first we need to know what you would need to roll. I guess we could have spent time looking at that Book of Darkness to try and see if we could glean anything from that during the trip.
Sorry, what was that, Randy?
I was just saying, while they were spending their whole days enchanting things, I guess we could have been looking at that Book of Darkness to see if there was anything we could learn from it.
Hell yeah.
Is your investigation good?
+0, I think.
Mine's also +0, so
But I mean, if I don't really have anything else to do.
we
Like I
spent
said,
6
unless if
days
it
trying
was
to
a
roll higher than
religion
a 10.
check.
Okay, so because you guys have a good bit of time to, because you have a good bit of time to do this, your roll, you're going to get some things out of it. Go ahead and make a roll or two. And my real question is, Zephyr. Oh, Zephyr had to help, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
I was gonna pull Zephyr into it, but
That's okay. So go ahead and make some rolls. We'll see
well,
how much y'all get out of
rolled a
this.
1 the
Oh,
first
Randy.
time. 14.
I got a 9 and a 12.
9 and a 12. So the highest 12 and 14, the two highest. Randy, you're just a little too rough with the book at first and like tear several pages. Like the front cover, like half the front cover gets torn.
I'm like,
Sorry,
my
Cranes,
arms,
man.
I can't coordinate them. I don't read books.
Deimos sweats nervously, thinking what Tabitha would, or not Tabitha, excuse me. What oh my god, I
Sybil.
forgot my girlfriend's name.
Sybil.
Sybil, thank you. What Sybil would do if she saw that.
All right, boys. You guys are not spellcasters. You gather pretty quickly that most of the stuff in this book is definitely geared towards spellcasters. You guys do find a list of spells. I'm going to post in the general chat. We don't have to worry too much about losing these. Oh, it's going to be a picture, whatever. The following spells are found in that book. Not that that means much to you guys, particularly to someone like Demos, that might mean a little more, but especially those bottom three, that's garblegook to you guys.
Holy shit!
I get
Yeah,
to reading
it's
through the book and I look at it for a second and I'm like, the heck kind of garbage is this? Can I just like hit it or something? I don't. You look at it, you ding dang spellcaster or whatever.
Well, they're busy for most of the days. We'll get to that here in a second. I will say with y'all's rolls, so y'all do manage to you guys do get to determine that those entries are spells. You guys can determine that those last couple are some scary shit. Particularly that last spell, multiple pages. Some freaky shit. Especially, maybe not Randy as much as Echo, who has some experience in espionage and things like that. Freaky shit. Boogeyman shit. You guys also can discern, I'll give you one more thing. You guys discern a little tidbit that it seems to give you the advantage to harness some darkness. The mechanical benefit that can be gotten is after a little time spent studying, a spellcaster can choose to change the damage type of a damaging spell to necrotic damage once per day. This ability resets at each dusk.
That is interesting.
And by all means, you haven't been through a large chunk of the book.
Mechanically, oh, they haven't been. So there's more they could potentially uncover.
As far as little mechanical quirks like that, yes.
I see. Mechanically, what would be the requirement, the prerequisite for that? Like studying the book for 8 hours, or
Let me look at my spells, my slots. So that one would probably, I'm going to go with an hour or two, a couple of hours maybe. Looks like I didn't put a time on it until the third step, which is a week.
Demos, but we don't know the second or third step or anything like that, right?
Yeah, you don't know yet, no.
If I imagine we share the information at the end of the day, Zephyr, is that something you might be interested in? You could change your Eldritch Blast to a different damage type, or any spell once a day, but that's
I don't know
I-
that I'd like necessarily. I don't know because
well, I heard tale of a man who could manipulate the elements to their will and change any type of spell that he wanted to. And if an enemy does have a weakness, which is not likely, but if an enemy does have a weakness, it's very unlikely that we might have the proper spell type or proper damage type to exploit that weakness.
I mean
More
I do
coverage
already
we have.
have one that
Is
does
necrotic.
necrotic damage.
I think
I
do.
am curious. Do you look at the book, Zephyr, on that once you're done helping them on that last day?
I would think so. Zephyr likes touching all the books.
Interesting.
Just to sniff the new book smell.
So you don't have to take that little you don't have to learn that little mechanical thing if you don't want to. But something about the book draws you in, Zephyr. You find yourself, if you're not interested in reading it to learn, you find yourself kind of flipping through the pages, rifling back and forth. It feels familiar in a way you can't really describe. You feel this kind of nudge in the back of your mind. For a brief second, your vision goes away. You see
Oh
nothing
God!
but black. Before the book, your sight, the blackness fades. Your sight comes back. You feel just this little twinge in the darkness in the back of your brain. Zephyr, once per turn, you may spend a bonus action to fire a bolt of darkness that does 1d4 plus your charisma modifier in damage and pushes its target 5 feet in any direction.
Oh, that's fancy.
I'm going
You
to
just learned how to do the second part of your tornado kick. You do the
I am going to send that to you. It says roll a magical spell attack to hit, so technically you can just roll an Eldritch Blast when you want to do this. It's not going to do Eldritch Blast damage, but it will move targets around. There's your
that was
bonus.
1d4 plus charisma moves them 5 feet automatically. That's pretty sick.
There's your bonus action thing that I've been promising for 27 sessions or whatever.
Huzzah!
What session is this? I didn't say earlier. This is session
It's 27.
25.
27.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, my notes are incomplete. The archives are incomplete. Well, Deimos seeing Zephyr gain some eldritch knowledge from this book after holding it to him is like, maybe I should hold on to this. I mean, if you're interested in reading further, I'm all for continuing education, as it were. But that looks.
I mean, I've learned what I can.
I don't know. Quarter wants to
Yeah,
read it now.
Zephyr's like, I don't want to touch it no more.
I just want to know mechanically how you use charisma to move somebody 5 feet. Like, anybody want to try and take a guess at like how to make that work?
That's the warlock spellcasting. It's your
Oh.
will, enforcing your will upon the world to like.
Oh, I know. I just think it's funny to think about like how you literally use charisma to force somebody to move 5 feet.
He's so Armstrong sparkly that it just pushes people away. Like they can't stand the sparkles.
He either lures them in or forces them away with intimidation when like Armstrong gets like the shadowy face.
Mhm.
So, I guess the last question before we move on beyond this week of rest, there's the Armstrong gifts. Not gonna look at that. Is if any other spellcaster would like to study the book.
If it's a couple hours and multiple people can gain the benefit, I mean, we could not all five of us could read this in a day and gain that benefit.
like-
If we, and
Like,
we're not
can Cordo
all,
read over Deimos' shoulder or something? Like,
yeah,
I will allow it.
that's creepy as fuck. Sure,
Drix,
wiggling
like
mushroom.
yeah, Drix sitting here like meditating like a good psionic warrior, and the Drix Cordo is just like wiggling back and forth over top of Demos's head, like reading over
I
his
picture
shoulder.
it almost like Demos hunched over reading the book, and Drix comes over, sits like back to back with Demos, and like reclines on him.
Cordo's reading. You cut out. I'm sorry.
They have to. So that's 1 a day. Change spell damage to necrotic. Yeah.
Yeah. Resets at each desk.
I guess I could
We
gain a
should,
benefit from that. I do have Booming Blade.
Is that an ability? Do you have spell slots? Is what I should be asking.
Technically,
Booming
I do
Blade is a
have.
cantrip.
I have one spell slot that I have never used for anything, and nobody will ever know what it's for until the day you do.
You have magic
Huh.
initiate.
No.
Oh.
Magic Randy.
I'm trying. I remember what it's from. I'm trying
Magic
to.
Man Randy Savage.
Randy the
Says a
Magnificent.
spellcaster. How do I define a spellcaster? I fuck it all out.
And I mean, technically, it's not even really that I just know 2 things that I could do outside of the stuff like my sword gives me. and
Yeah,
stuff
I'm
like
a little like. You know, Randy, you have lots of cool stuff. I'm gonna rule because of where that spell slot comes from that you're not a spellcaster.
No, that's totally fine with me.
And I will
Also
say
possible.
that because it only took you guys 5 of the 7 days, Drix and Cordo, you have enough time to study the book for the next thing if you want.
Wait, to uncover the second hurt?
Yeah, Drix and Demos, Cordo and Demos.
I will learn what it is,
Oh,
or like
I'd love to.
try to. I don't want to necessarily say I'll take it, but as Devin takes a swig of his drink, oh boy.
Okay. After a little bit more time studying the book, a caster learns how to draw upon the darkness inherent in all creatures. Whenever a caster casts a spell, they may flavor their spells as being some form of darkness. Pretty benign.
Flavor their spells, but not mechanically change it.
Yeah.
Zeph, I think you would love this particular
Yeah,
section.
it just kind of gives you the
It's just-
freedom to turn your fireball to black fire, or your lightning into black and purple lightning, or yada yada
Oh
yada.
God, when you say it like that, that does sound sexy, doesn't it? Man, okay. Is that also a couple of hours? Or
I would say that one's probably a day. Day or
and
two.
we're on day. What? I guess we did 5. We're on day 6.
This would be the last day. This would be like day 6 right before you got there.
I mean, I'm all for some dramatic flair.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a one a day thing or just at will?
At will, because it's flavor.
Fuck. Sybil's gonna fucking shit herself when she sees.
So it sounds like you two can make your magic look spooky. Or as it otherwise may not make sense. Now it does. I need
Well,
both of
Circle
you.
of Spurs is mostly necrotic anyway.
I need both of you to make wisdom saves for
Oh
me,
no!
please.
I was like, all this knowledge.
Hell yeah.
Wisdom saves.
Yes, sir.
I have
Wisdom based
wisdom
caster for the win.
That's true. Drix is prepared. Cordo is prepared.
Ooh. I would like to use a fate die.
A
To
what?
favored by fate. 1 second.
13?
Okay. I don't know if you've ever used this.
I have before.
No, it's
yeah.
4, damn.
This was the This is one of my subclass features.
Okay.
It was favored, or no, it's
You know what? To
was
save
favored by
time,
the
I'm just going
god.
to tell you not to bother. Just to save time.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool.
Sorry.
No.
Demos, you do feel icky. You know how like when you watch a particularly disturbing movie or something, it kind of sits on your conscious, in your psyche for a little bit. That's kind of how Demos feels a little bit. Drix, you black out briefly. You lose your sight. You hear this slithering sound, but it's ungodly loud. It does not sound like anything you've ever heard before. It almost engulfs you. It's so loud before your sight slowly returns. You are a wisdom caster. You can tell pretty quick. You don't seem to have been changed or affected, but without a roll, I can tell you that Drix and Cordo would gather that continuing to read and continuing to learn from the book could be dangerous.
Yeah, that got real quick.
Well, do you relay all that, or do you?
Oh yeah.
Drix, you passed out. Everything okay?
I think nothing seems to be different. And Cordo also agrees. Nothing seems too different about us, but that was a wild experience.
We should be cautious of delving in too deeply. God damn, I want to give this book to Zephyr, but he has zero interest in it.
Drix is really apprehensive about the book now, but Cordo actually is more curious.
Demos is too. I like to think Demos doesn't even know that his magic can look different. He's just gonna find out the next time he casts it.
If you wanna hatch a plan, I mean, I'm pretty sneaky. I just slide it under Zephyr's pillow and be like, "Sweet dreams, baby."
I was gonna say, if you shove it in his hands, he's too polite to decline. He doesn't know how to speak up for himself.
Every day for
I
a
don't
week,
know,
Demos
guys.
is like, read this.
Joey, Demos wouldn't know this, but Joey feels like the book is gonna find its way to Zephyr or vice versa sooner or later.
Y'all could put it. Y'all could start a chest of things no one should touch and put it in the chest, and it could never get touched again. That's up to you guys.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to.
Cordo also really wants to touch it. He wants to read it more.
You know what? I'll go to Zephyr privately later. Zephyr, I'm a little worried about Drix. He already seems a bit of a dark sort, and I don't want him to get unnecessarily pulled into this. And I've had a bit of a taste of its perks as well, and I don't want myself to become too greedy. Could I give this to you for your to safekeep it? I'm not saying to prevent anyone from using it, but just so we have an air of caution about its use.
Yeah, Zephyr would kind of just groan about it, but then would absolutely do it for you. Because you asked so nice.
You might like it. It's almost like a very dark diary. It's much better than this book I found, Appalachian Dragons by Angel blah 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 Hopes, whatever.
God.
Lives in fucking Indiana. Don't know shit about mountains. Tell from the fucking cover. Yeah, you should have started.
You're
Me started.
just your
That's like pulling the fucking ripcord on me. All right. It sounds like he's gonna keep the book. Is that what I gathered? I was reading some shit I wrote.
Yeah, we're basically giving it to Zephyr to where if anyone needs to get it, they can get it from him, but he's sort of a safeguard for it. He seems apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
Perhaps that'll help deter other people. Perhaps he will deter.
I'm going to mention this because you had the book, because you read the book for a day and some hours. My note is, Demos particularly might notice that there are some references to individuals plagued by night terrors that later grew to wield darkness with a mighty hand.
Huh.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
Amos does the equivalent of like highlighting it and just slips it back to Zephyr. Some passages are extremely interesting, and I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into things, but
there's a
I
whole
find
paragraph
things-
there, but that's the sentence that I wanted to read. Sorry.
whole paragraph there. He says, "I don't like that."
Anyway, glad y'all got to mess around with the book. And Zephyr got his bonus action. Anything else y'all would like to do as you're landing on Xen'Drik next to the expedition site?
Nothing that I can think of.
Can I sit on the front of the ship, just sort of see what I can see as we get ready to land, like
Sure.
survey the territory a little bit and stuff?
I will describe this before we go on our break. So Xen'Drik is primarily a jungle continent. So you, of course, for a little while, you've been over a pretty densely forested jungle. And I would say you might, even from the air, you might spot places. How do I say this without being not PC? There are what seem to be primitive tribes scattered around the landscape. Just from high up as you are, you see sections of the jungle that have been obviously cut away and serve as some kind of encampments, camps, villages. I don't know what you want to call it. So there do seem to be inhabitants of the continent, but Amazonian tribes is the best analogy that I could give to what seems to be going on in those places. You probably see a smattering of dinosaurs. You might see a pterodactyl or something like that. This is, being the jungle continent, this is not primarily where they live, but they do inhabit this continent more so than the civilized continent of Corvair. And as you're landing, as you get close enough to land on the dig site, you can see what looks to be a mostly buried structure, a very large structure. Pretty much every structure that you pass that's not from one of these primitive tribes is huge. No history check needed to know this was the land of the giants. This is where their empire was. And so as you're approaching what seems to be a mostly buried structure, you can see where part of it has been dug out. You can see as you land, there's a big hole in the ground leading deeper down into the structure that has obviously been cleared. You assume the Moorgrave expedition cleared it on their way in. And with that, we're going to take our break if you don't have any questions.
Cool.
Why did it get so spicy all of a sudden?
Spicy. You scared?
Just like it went from, oh yeah, we're gonna go do this thing, and it's like, oh, by the way, you've unlocked Eldritch knowledge, and by the way, there's dinosaurs. I hope you forgot about that because I did.
We'll see. If y'all make it to the end of the dungeon, it'll be super spicy.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be back in 10. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for coming. Glad no one left in the middle of session because I'm rusty AF and this sucks. For y'all, not for me. I'm having a great time.
I'm having a great time.
You guys land amidst the jungles on the continent of Xen'Drik, just outside of what appears to have been a recently cleared entrance. You guys can tell that the excavation team before you guys had to unearth this entrance from vines, shrubs, briars, trees, things of that nature. You can see a lot of the brush piled off to either side. Makes it very easy to find the entrance to the expedition site, we'll call it. Guess I have a map to take you guys to. It's going to be all black because it's hidden and stuff.
Just because it's been a minute, and I'm trying to remember, was this a Crimson Codex excavation, or was
Yes,
this a... Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't remember if it was that or if it was a staff one for Wargrave.
Reveal. Where's my reveal button? Okay. Is there anything else you guys like to do before you enter the expedition site? You guys do know that at least the first little bit has been explored. This is the way the expedition team came in. So I'll go ahead and. Can you guys see that? Where I've unveiled, it should be about the middle of the map.
Oh, yeah. Middle left. Right. You have a hallway. That world.
That's a hallway indeed. I apologize for the black background. These dungeons are randomly generated, and Joey tried to teach me how to like make them a certain texture so I could put them on a background, but I didn't have time to test that. So, and then it got buried. So,
Don't apologize, homie. Also, if you're dropping tokens like I am, make sure that you have the correct amount of hit points on it, because I do not.
34.
Yeah, 34 was my... I have 42 now at a level 6.
Oh, I can drop Echo real quick. I guess Echo can do that. Brandon been quiet for a minute. I bet his manager's running around. Let's see.
There was a couple of times I needed to go do something, but I'm here.
The fucking nuclear map behind him glowing red as all these red dots start to pop up on it. I mean, it's not going to matter by tomorrow anyway, so I guess it could be.
I'm going to be in the internet tomorrow either for just ripping off of what Devin said.
Yeah.
For either blowing up the entire state of Louisiana or
saving it.
getting fired for playing D&D at work.
Yeah, I mean, if he ever
Only
unmutes,
two.
like while he's at work, and he's just like, "Hey guys, this is gonna be the last session," then like we'll just know, enjoy it, enjoy the last session of D&D.
Plays D&D until we're all wiped out by nuclear fallout.
Calm and beautiful thing I've ever heard. You want to play D&D till the end of the world? Yeah, sure, I guess.
Fair. Yeah, me in a nuclear fallout bunker with a bunch of strangers. Y'all want to play D&D until we starve?
What better way to pass the time, though? I mean, shit.
I don't know, after reading those Jotun Lord stories, I don't know about being stranded with a group of people.
Oh, come on. It'll be delicious. I mean, fun.
And that's a wrap. Don't spoil our content that y'all are publishing.
Plugging
Alright.
plugging Undead Jotun Lords document coming soon to a digital marketplace near you.
Or
also,
possibly published, depending on when this video hits the internet.
Oh yeah. Also, if you guys in this group here would like to help us review that document for errors or want to contribute ideas, I was hoping to do a little. Brandon sent a ton of work this week, which has been a huge help. Injecting new art and adding in ideas and concepts and getting some things structure or input that we've long needed and has given me a burst of a bit of motivation to start working on it again as well. So if you guys would like to jump in and join the conversation and the ideas, or just have feedback for us, you're welcome to. There is a notes page at the top of the document where you can include anything you want to share with us.
If you don't know where to do that in Discord, let me know. I'll tag you there. Most of you are already there.
Well, I mean in the actual document, but yes, that as well.
Anyway, I have revealed some of the map you would be able to see, Drix, since based on where you're standing. You guys are welcome to move your tokens around. The squares are 10 feet. There's no grid on the Roll20 page, so please use the ruler. It will be the most accurate. That's probably going to be the standard for my games going forward, because I like the ruler. I think it's neat. I like not having to put a grid on a page.
So this already has a grid, though. Are you saying
It's not going to lock you to it, is what I mean. Like it's not it's not on the Roll20 page. It's supposed to be 10 feet. The ruler is as close as I could make it.
I mean, that's
I'll reveal some more of this. So as you guys come in, you guys can see, as I've talked about before, this area is already cleared. You guys can see I took this randomly generated map and tried to decorate it. So there is moss and vines and all kinds of kind of roots growing through this structure. Oddly enough, some sections are desiccated. You see sections of the moss and vines and stuff growing that have withered and died and turned black. But only in sections. You can see other parts that are vibrant and green and growing, overtaking the ruins. These first little... Yeah, so this area particularly that you're asking about, Demos, you can see snuffed out campfires, a tent or two left behind. It doesn't take you too long to gather that this is where they had made camp when they first entered the ruins. Sorry, I'm trying to get this fixed.
Well, you said we see where some of them are desecrated. Where is that?
Desiccated, so dead, dying, already dead, turned black, withered.
Aquí. Where?
Mostly in this. Oh, but let me ping. Mostly in this room and kind of in the entrance here. Since you guys can see down this hallway, I should have. Since you guys can see down this hallway, most of the stuff down the hallway looks okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do this because it's a dead end. But kind of in the entrance, there's some stuff that looks, like I said, the life leached out of it.
What's it's a table, a coffin.
If you take a look in that room, there does seem to have been a table you gather they were using as a war room type table. That was left behind just in the rush. You gather most of the stuff you see. So like these, let me point out some of these assets here that I use. This is just a pile of rubble. You see something like this, it's just to represent kind of the rubble laying around the ruins. This table seems to have just been left behind in the clutter. Since you asked about these, Demos, if you go into that room to take a closer look, they appear to be boxes of dynamite.
Something I want to take with us, but do not want to have in my person if I get hit with fire. We have a bag of fire.
We
No.
don't. We never got one.
Well,
this is a rock. So these just generally represent crumbled ruins. These are extinguished campfires, which you find kind of all over this bottom area down here.
fuck. I want to take some of these boomsticks. I'm not gonna lie, but whoever has them needs to be cautious about what they get into. Any volunteers?
I mean, I'll take them.
I was gonna say Zephyr would be willing if the prospect of dying is on the line.
Zephyr, here's this cursed book and a stick of dynamite.
God.
Fucking Looney Tunes.
It's like a kid in a candy shop, man.
All right, let's say they do contain dynamite, I imagine, yeah? Like sticks?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Can we get like what do y'all say, 3 each? 3 for Zephyr, 3 for Randy?
That's how many's over there, sure.
I don't know if it occurred to you guys yet, but I definitely thought about taping or tying it to one of my arrows and shooting it in battle.
Ooh, I'd like that.
As you say that, I'm gonna turn around and say, "Daggum, brother, you're reading my mind. I was thinking maybe you could light one of those suckers on fire and I'd launch it and say pull."
Exactly. I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I shot it with a dynamite arrow.
Well,
Get
all right.
fucking
You guys
shell
gather. So what would that be? Maybe 9 total sticks?
Yeah, if there's at this point we might as well all take them.
15 total sticks?
We should limit who has them, I think. I think that having everybody be a potential boom is bad. Having one person be a very big boom, also bad, I guess. But
I feel like if you're carrying dynamite, there's not a lot you can do. What you know?
I mean,
Quite
the
a
way I
bit
looked
higher.
at it is my dexterity's pretty good. I'm just gonna tuck it in my waistband, and if I see fire coming at me, I'm gonna ask if I can make a dexterity roll to yeet the dynamite.
I love this. Randy's fucking wearing a samurai gi and a cowboy hat. He's got a revolver tucked in one side, and just sticks of dynamite tucked in the other. He's just fucking all over the place, man.
It
All
hits
right.
the vibe. Eberron, welcome.
What's everyone's passive perception? I guess I can look.
I've only got a 9 for
10.
passive perception. I have a 13 passive investigation. That's
15.
15.
12.
Wow. Drix, you do notice kind of falling off behind this table in this northern room, there is a very interesting looking interesting. It says it's a pen. I like to think it looks more like a quill. A very long green feathered quill.
Huh.
You gather this is something they were gathering up to take with them and just didn't notice it had fallen off the table.
I'm gonna pick it up, honestly, and examine it, I guess.
Yeah, so as you're taking a look at it, copy link address. I apologize if this opens to like several items. It should really there's only one item here, so sorry if you see a bunch of them. But I will say pretty quickly, Demos, you recognize that as a very commonly used magical item at the University of Moorgrave, known as an emerald pen.
It's a quick notes quill.
It is a quick notes quill. Sort of, maybe.
What meaning what demos?
Quick notes quill is what Rita Skeeter uses in Harry Potter, the little magic quill that like telepathically writes what she wants it to.
That's what I thought this was, but technically
Okay.
it says while holding this pen, you can cast illusory script at will, requiring no material components. I also thought it was a quick notes quill, so it's also a quick notes quill because Devin says so.
Aha.
Illusory script. We can use this to make notes of well, if we get ourselves into any type of situation where we feel like navigating out of here might be difficult, we can use this to leave a bit of a trail.
Doesn't store cookies or browsing history. We can't see what someone wrote with it in the past.
That's a good question.
Well,
Priore
it seems like you-
incantatum.
it seems like you academics like to make your scribbles and stuff like that, Demos. So I leave this to you.
It is. I'm about to say Demos is pretty certain it is with Moorgrave. It's not necessarily something y'all could get access to. Whatever it actually wrote, pretty easily if you wanted to. Quit looking at my feet.
No.
Sorry, puppy dog.
Is this an actual item?
Yes, there's a link in the
Emerald
general.
pen. Okay, interesting. I'll read that. Okay, Deimos, to demonstrate it, we'll write on the floor, and this little cross pathway we're in, an arrow pointing to the exit. And this way we know which way to go to get out if we get turned around or something.
I'm gonna delete that link because it's not a good link.
Sort
Takes
of
you-
just to-
Takes you to like the whole list of items instead of just that item. There's just that item. So it's a little easier to see what it does. You don't have to look at all that other shit. Okay. Demos pockets the quick quill, emerald pen. Also quick quill, because why the fuck not? Alright. Would you guys y'all free to explore? Which direction would you like? Marching order, please! My DM skills are leaving me.
I'd like to be in the middle.
I'll take Bird.
Zephyr wants to go up front.
Are they? It's 10-foot squares, so we can line up at least 2 by 2 if we want, if not more. But we should also decide what direction we're going. I see you guys are just shooting down the hallway, but
Echo, do you want to be in the middle or in the front? Or in the back?
I guess we'll go this way. Yeah.
I kind of want to be in the front because I'm going to do a rogues do. I'm going to Carapace, and then I'm going to try to scout ahead a little bit, see if I notice anything, or at least open up some of these hallways in my periphery.
Okay, well, me
Good
and
with
Zephyr will take
back.
false front.
So I'm gonna put-
Then we'll have invisible Randy in the real front.
Okay. So it looks
does a
like
front
yeah,
We're
row.
so
doing a
it's something.
2-2-1.
Yeah, I was about to say, looks like y'all gonna do something like that, which is chill.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'll take
Demos,
the
you're
back.
you're not protected. You know all about that, don't you, Brandon?
Yeah, you don't even know.
Well,
Oh
yes,
boy.
Put your
Three or four
echo on the other side.
Oh boy. Here we go. The wine's kicking in. Y'all are exploring. You can tell, Randy, from where you are that the end of this passageway seems to open up into a broader space. You've not moved far enough forward to see down this hallway to the north yet.
Yeah.
You want to go take a peek? This also opens up into another room that looks just as ramshackle and crumbly as the rest of the dungeon. Let me see if I can get you a better bloop. Let's see here. Most of the greenery and shrubs and stuff that are overgrowing the ruin all look fine and dandy, fine and randy throughout this section of the expedition site. I guess it's up to you, Randy. Which, if you want to keep going down or go to the north.
Randy finds this wordplay acceptable. I think I'll pose it back. Left dead ends. Looks like straight keeps going. You guys want to check out this empty room? Looks like there's maybe some more of that dead junk in there too.
you should sweep every passage, every chamber along the way, just to make sure nothing sneaks up on us.
Sweep, you say? I'm gonna climb up on the wall, start scooting down that way.
Okay. I'll go ahead and reveal the rest of this room for you. So you can see pretty quickly as you get closer that the other entranceway out of this room is blocked. It is a doorway where the doorway has crumbled. The ruins above it have crumbled down. It's not like, you can squeeze through. It is instead of a doorway, a massive pile of heavy rocks. In this room particularly, see here. The way I'm doing this, I don't have every single individual room marked. I have to remember exactly what this room was.
Just getting here, so maybe it's not the best thing to do right now. But if we find that we want to get on the other side of that, we did just procure a fair bit of dynamite. We wanted to pop a few sticks in there and throw a firebolt.
So I'm going to say that this area, Randy, looks somewhat unusual. These alcoves these alcoves you see here seem to have hooks, chains. They're giant sized. Keep in mind, this is a giant. It seems to have been made for giants. Y'all are in a very large hallway. Everything here is giant sized. So these alcoves are, 30 or 40 feet wide. Very giant versions of hooks, chains. It looks it kind of strikes you as very similar to the hanging rigs you saw in the Kenneth laboratory that you looked at, that you guys snuck into in one of the very beginning episodes. Other than that, you don't see a lot. This room is very ruined. You kind of gather that most of the things on this side of the rock slide have been explored and or degraded by the elements. It doesn't take you too long to look through this and realize that the Kenneth expedition, the Morgrave expedition very likely had already pillaged this room for anything they might have found of note. You can see some of the paper scraps and other detritus that they have left behind in their wake, taking notes and things of that nature.
Cool. I'll shout back to the party. Looks like somebody was getting a little freaky in this room. Anyway, we should scoot on.
Looks ransacked.
Ransack's a good word for it.
Randy sacked? That's
No.
a different kind of teabag.
Don't.
Round stack.
You guys don't know what Thrycarian reproductive organs look like. You don't want to find out.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I did come pretty close one time.
It's their antennas.
You've been touching all over 'em.
Like, think you just like clean your mandibles.
Click, click.
All right. There's nothing of interest in here. Well, I guess we'll scoot back down. Report
I was
to the
about to
party.
ask if you're.
Should we go down the hallway? Should we check out these chambers down here?
Hold up. I just did something weird I didn't know I could do. That's kind of cool. Did you guys know if you drag and drop over multiple tokens on the map, you can move them as a unit? Because I know that now.
Yes, I
Mhm.
did know that.
Oh, yeah. If you have permissions to move those tokens, yes.
Apparently I do. Yeah, I'm fine going back and checking out the rooms back here at the bottom before we keep going down the hallway if you want to be thorough.
Yeah, let's take a peek down here.
Always that 100%er. Also, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 coming to PC soon. You've all
Ooh,
been warned.
yeah, keep me posted on that.
It'll be sometime soon. This
Now I
is
have a
just.
piece-
It's much better on PC. This is just an auxiliary room. There's nothing but rubble here. Pretty much this whole area that I'm revealing to you guys. Oh, you made popcorn. Holy shit. Sorry, I smell popcorn. Devin's fucking feral sense just went fucking off. This whole area down here seems to have been where the God damn it. The Moorgrave expedition had been camped out when they were all working together to try to get the shard out. When they first landed here, they seem to have made camp in this wing since it was the first wing that was presented to them. Another tent left behind, more extinguished fire, more trash, for lack of a better term. You know, rations thrown on the ground, empty rations thrown on the ground, things of that nature. They're not leave no trace campers, unfortunately.
I noticed as I turn back to Deimos, I'm like, your boys should be ashamed of themselves. I'm gonna tell you right now. We don't do this junk on
Sorry.
our planet.
Nerds get a new toy and they forget everything else around them and get absorbed in it for several weeks. I apologize.
Mhm. Oddly enough, probably because this map is randomly generated, this is the dead end.
Oh, okay. What about there?
Very long. I'm going to say you probably can't see down the end of it.
Kind of terrifying.
Okay. Well, Mama didn't raise no coward.
We're 15 to 20 feet behind you.
Boom. Boom.
Randy, make a dex save for me, please.
Oh,
Always. I'll do it, man.
No, I'm actually just fucking with you.
Oh, I was like, yeah, I'll give you a deck save. We'll do it.
No,
that is a
no,
good point, though. We should be sweeping for traps as we're going.
yeah,
That's
I'm
part of the
fucking with
reason I jumped in the head and like in the front because I'm proficient in dexterity saves. Like if something does pop up, my reception's garbage, but I'll probably pass a save or at least come close.
You eventually get far enough down the hallway, Randy, to realize that the room at the end seems to be the teleportation circle that they had warned you about, that they had been working to try to re-piece back together so they could figure out how to use it. You do know that they can use it, but it's a little dangerous because they had to guess at some of the glyphs. If you guys get a closer look, you can see there are several sections of the circle that are eroded away by time, where they've had to guess or deduce what magical sigils and writings to put there in order to actually teleport to it.
Deimos would like to take a couple of minutes, pull out a piece of parchment, and have the quill, or commanding the quill, I guess, to sort of recreate it to the best of his ability. I want to try to get, just for records, I guess.
So I'll say that you record it as is, knowing that you can go back to Moorgrave and get, they can fill in for you what they have filled in themselves to the best of their ability. And every time they test it, they change it every time they test it. Only been 3 deaths so far. It's great.
Oh boy.
In the name of science. Science can't move forward without heaps.
Is this like the Fly situation? Like, did they die because they just landed somewhere different, or do they like come through as this weird sort of mishmash of combined individuals that we're discussing?
Usually it puts you in the wrong place. So 40 feet beneath it, in the middle of solid rock, and you're just squished.
This makes me think of the Doctor Who quote that space is filled with dead time travelers who didn't account for planetary drift.
I love that.
Like you jump back 1,000 years but forget that the planet wasn't in the exact same spot. And
11. So, that is it'll take you. You know, it's pretty easy for y'all to deduce. This is a teleportation circle they discovered. Since you're working on it, Demo, since you're recording it, you pick out pretty quickly because of your expertise. These are not giant glyphs. These are not giant runes. This is a very draconian piece of magic.
Interesting.
And since you've realized that, I would say that you finish this, you kind of look around and realize the architecture is not giant, does not appear to be giant architecture. Most of the style seems to be supremely draconian. It is a little odd that so much of the structure represents draconic architecture.
So, if Joey understands this correctly, dragons in Eberron aren't quite the same as they are in Faerun. There's a continent that is populated pretty much exclusively by dragons, and I think kobolds and lizard folks and their worshippers.
They do have their own continent. That doesn't make them much different than Faerunian dragons.
Well, no, but they're not around the main continent in particular. Like there's not.
They're all over the world. They just have a homeland.
Oh, okay, interesting. Can I try to get a bead on when this might have been built? Like referencing the language to the architecture, try to get a.
Just your check, please. Someone can help you if you'd like.
I would like that.
My history's not helpful.
Alright, that's great. 25.
Pardon? So, especially given that you're the dragon nerd in your circle, you pick out pretty quick that this is architecture used during. Pardon, I don't remember the raw term for it. There was the giant empire was eventually laid waste to by dragons. Like many fantasy settings, there was a war between the dragons and the giants. The dragons are mostly responsible for the giant empire falling. And this, the architecture seems to state that this was built during that time. I would say with that roll, you deduce that this was likely an installation, like a forward fortification, if you will, a military installation on the enemy continent.
So here's where I'm sort of I'm curious about. So we believe it is a giant ruin. Why?
You found it on Xen'Drik, where
giants are originally from.
Demos is just now discovering it was not apparently built by giants. It was built by dragons to have an installation on the enemy's continent.
So the hooks and equipment that we saw there were also presumably draconic of make.
That is, I guess with that roll, since it's so high above a 20, you gauge that everything was built to not to dragon size, but to giant size. You probably know that dragons can polymorph, and that you can deduce eventually they must have polymorphed into giants to move around this installation.
Interesting. Okay. I will share that with the group. That is very curious. If this was a site that was intended to help them take down the dragons, it would explain why there are artifacts of such power here. I say we head back up and either head down the main hallway or the secondary one we found.
I think y'all have explored everything you can see.
We found all the
Oh,
hallways
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize this one dead ended. So,
Yeah, and to be honest, even if there was a door there, it's going to go to the same room. So,
circles and circles.
Yeah, RPG randomly generated dungeon maps are weird.
All right, I ran up to the hallway.
All right,
Nice.
y'all. Looks like y'all are going to go to the one place y'all have left. They reveal that for Yinzal. Yinzal. Bloop.
Yeah.
Bloop. So this is by far the largest room. Encourage y'all to take your ruler and drag it across the room to see just how big it is.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty big room. Of course, I mentioned before that, so this would be a very large room by giant standards. So the ceiling is, maybe 180, 250 feet. It's big. And you guys, it doesn't take long to tell when you get in there that the middle of the room, there is kind of this empty divot, an empty spot. It doesn't take long for any of you to realize that's probably where they pulled the shard out of. They came into this room, discovered the shard, immediately set to work attempting to extract it out of its resting place and then get it out of here. And at that point, the expedition pulled out and brought it back to Moorgrave. But this room is littered with, there's the most signs of activity here. Many mundane things like tables, seating, and paper trash have been left behind. So again, they come in, they found it, they made sure it wasn't dangerous, they yanked it out and got it out. So this room is littered, is the best way I know to put it. This is where a majority of the work, the first bit of work and research went on to make sure they could move it. And then as soon as they figured out they could move it, every ounce of effort seemed to went towards getting it out and getting it back to Moorgrave. And you guys can see there are 2 more passageways caved in that seem to lead further into the structure.
Dynamite?
I believe I agree with you. Before we go booming, I think that Deimos would just take like a quick peek into each of these chambers to make sure there's nothing of note within the little alcoves in the corners. Like I see this one that has an unusual curvature of moss, and that may just be decorative, but I'm just...
It is just decorative. It's just me trying to make this very plain Jane map not look so plain Jane. Though I would say that after a little bit of looking around, Demos, you gathered that anything that would have been worth taking a look at has been pulled out of this room. This whole area that you guys have been through, the expedition has also been through and was able to access and has been picked pretty clean. And you know that Calvin has told you guys that he's primarily concerned with the areas they haven't been able to get to yet.
Before we blow it open, let me ask you, where Deimos is standing at, like, is there anything of interest about where the shard was? Like, I'm curious how it was, like, would we be able to deduce how it was stored here? Was it just, like, encased in stone? Or is there anything magical about this?
Was it floating ominously and rotating slowly?
It was floating, the best you could tell. You guys can't see any marks that indicate that it was set. Like, it doesn't look like they had to pry it out. It doesn't look like they had to blast it out. The divot is not nearly as deep as the bottom half of the shard would have been. So it's not too terribly difficult to deduce that it was probably floating, and that and I'll probably even say that little ring you see there looks like it has runes on it. There was probably some magic built into that circle to help keep it aloft. Well, Prince.
I guess we just gotta pick a direction.
Yeah, but so which direction would you like to attempt to blow open?
I feel like north is going to lead maybe back towards the rubble we found in that northern room earlier, potentially. Could be wrong, though, but I think we should go that way.
I want to agree with you.
Does anybody disagree? I heard no disagrees. Who's going to actually try to be the sapper and set the dynamite and figure out how to blow a hole through this without crashing the rest of the ruins down upon
Got a
yourself?
good sleight of hand.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could use sleight of hand, but if you need me to, like, make any kind of intelligence check to understand, like, how I'm doing it besides just being careful, I'm not your guy.
I have really good acrobatics too if I need to run away quickly. Just if it comes to a survival check, I'm not gonna do good.
It sounds like we have the
Well,
same
if-
strengths and the same weaknesses, so...
I was about to say, so what I think I want to do is I want to do a skill challenge for this. Which means you guys get to pick what you roll, but you have to justify to me like how that skill helps you guys during this process, which is setting the charges, lighting them, and getting them to go off without crumbling the rest of the installation down upon yourselves. You need 3 out of 5 successes.
I will say I will do an investigation check to see the weakest points to place the dynamite.
Okay. You have to tell me what you roll, because I'm picking up drop Cheez-Its. I'm also lowering that. 3 out of 5 is not what I meant to say. Oh. I guess it is, because it's the minimum.
7? Do I want to waste a luck point on this? Can I wait to see how everyone else does, or do I need to do it now? Probably need to do it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
Do
so-
another luck.
the only things I can really do is slot a hand a piece of dynamite in there.
Okay, it's okay with that. 17.
I would elect that once we get everything placed, I'll be the one to light it so that way I can run away quicker.
Okay.
With high acrobatics. So they can all get away and then
Oh well, I guess I didn't realize this. I was thinking place the dynamite, get on the other side of the room at 120 feet, pop a firebolt at it. And this way we don't have to worry about being too close to it when it's lit.
okay.
That is presuming that
hmm.
120 is not too close. But
I would use my stealth check to place it in a way where the blast will not be as loud. Maybe like kind of deep within the rock, provide some muffling.
Also, you might even have some things on you that make that easier. You know, a random teapot or cooking utensils that you can use to muffle things.
13.
Okay, 17 to 13. I didn't see your sleight of hand there, Randy.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 12.
Okay. Drix or Zephyr, how would you like to contribute to the skill challenge?
Sorry, I missed a minute because Ben had to come ask me something.
Or she's
we're trying
Okay.
to boom boom. How
Yeah,
you gonna
you're-
help us boom boom?
trying to put dynamite in a crumbled wall and remove the obstacle without crashing the rest of the ruins down upon yourself.
Oh.
You get to pick a skill, but you have to justify to me how that skill helps you all.
I mean, my Eldritch Blast is somewhat focused, I guess. Hold on. The only other thing I have is Sacred Flame, but that's not like an actual flame. That's like a
Not an
idiot
attack,
flame, but
a skill like acrobatics,
skill.
animal handling, arcana. Yeah.
okay. Like Arcana's my magic-y stuff. What about? Damn, like my best 2 skills are like Persuasion and Deception, and I can't talk to the, collapsing rubble.
You could deceive a party member into believing they're doing a great job.
Oh, like a yes man, a little bit. I mean, Arcana is my next highest stat, but I don't know how I could use that to help.
I guess you could use Arcana to determine maybe how effective a spell would be on the dynamite specifically. Like, as far
Or
as
like ideal blast points, maybe. Like the best places to direct, or would that be more of a perception? I can roll perception if that would make
Yeah, I was gonna roll perception.
I also have nature. Like, would nature count towards like the structure of stones and physics and that sort of thing? Is using my knowledge of physics, I guess.
I think. Okay,
I am a
well,
learned man.
You are learning, man. Let's see, learning, man. Let's see that nature check. Okay, perfect.
14. So I mean, I know a little bit about something.
So with Zephyr's help, you guys managed to figure out the best places where you're pretty certain that it's going to crumble enough to let you through, but it's not going to crumble enough to cave in the rest of the area. You guys kind of just barely eke by as like Echo gets ready to like start lighting fuses, and Demos is like, no. Explains his firebolt plan as you guys retreat to the back end, back here. I'm assuming back here. However far you can be, and still throw a firebolt, as we said, right?
Firebolt, yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty far.
It's like, what, is it 120 or 240?
It's 120 feet, I'm pretty sure. Yes.
So you can get to the other side of this gravitational ring, essentially. Stand behind it for cover, that's what I'm going to do.
I was thinking, like, around one of these pillars, maybe?
You guys place the dynamite. Echo adding some additions and kind of helping you guys place it in a place where the sound will be a little more muffled. Demos fires off his firebolt. I don't know how he lights multiple fuses with one firebolt, but you know, the first blast catches the other fuses on fire, I'm assuming. So it's almost like cherry bombs. The first one goes off and then doom, 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 doom. There is a brief rumbling. You guys feel some dirt and pebbles kind of cascade from the ceiling above you, but eventually everything settles and all is silent as you guys have blasted a hole through this tunnel up into the next corridor.
Gross, thanks.
But, when the dust settles, what do we see beyond that hallway there, friend Arena?
Gross, thanks, Herb. I gotta find my reveal areas thing. Flat. So let's see here. How much of this could you see? So there's a weird little thing here.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I guess I'll eke through.
Alright, you're gonna go explore.
I think so.
Alright. You go kind of prowling. So many more moss, vines, roots, much more overgrown. You know, this is the section that has been buried for longer. And Randy, as you're going through, it becomes immediately apparent that this section isn't nearly as ransacked. You see, I'm going to say this for Josh's benefit. Randy would probably be really confused. You see very large tools. I don't want to say wrenches and things like that because I may not have had wrenches, but imagine these kind of very weird, very large, odd-looking tools. You might see a gear or two. Now, when I say gear, you know, we're thinking like this, but these are giant-sized. So, you know, much larger than a dinner plate gears, kind of scattered around the area.
What's the deal with these guys on either side here? These just like little alcoves?
Make a perception check for me, please.
This is where rolling a stupid rogue is not a good idea.
It's very difficult to tell. I think Randy probably assumes this may have been where decorations were, or perhaps statues were. They seem to look a lot like alcoves you would put suits of armor in, or et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Hey, Roman.
I guess I'll try to cross the first one to here.
Besides fighting the moss and branches and things of that nature, you're unaccosted. Nothing interesting happens.
I'll hop across them one by one and just to see if it seems like anything occurs before clearing all the way over.
I won't make you sweat too much. You cross through this particular hallway unaccosted. Trying not to say unmolested.
That
Find
too,
yourself.
I hope. But Jesus,
If you find another room that is a little odd, I would like to think that there probably is broken glass. So the way Devin thinks about this little room here is that little room inside the room is almost like a security booth, or like you would expect, like someone that operates a gate or something. Like that's kind of how Devin thinks of it. The glass is broken. There's not any actual glass still there. But it definitely seems to probably have been a place where they stood guard. Or at the very least kept an eye on the other rooms around them.
Okay. I'll telepathically shout back to, I think I can only really reach Drix from this range. If you even scoot back a little bit. Just say, hey buddy, let the rest of them know. Don't seem booby-trapped or nothing. Looks like it just dead ends into some kind of room.
We checking it out? Oh no, something in there.
Come on up, if you want.
Do-do-do-do.
Did you move him, Joey? Demos? Or did
he
Echo?
said he
Yeah, I was getting ready to move him. He started moving. I was like, oh.
lied.
Poor Zephyr's occupied, it seems, so I'm going to put him up here.
Reading a good book.
Uh-huh. Good Book of Darkness. Let me reveal this here so that you can see. It looks like Drix probably would be able to see kind of into here. You know what? I'll reveal. Oh. Oh. I'm changing this map on the fly a little bit because it's dumb. This map shows that this is a closed-off room. Nuh-uh. There is a door to the north. Otherwise, the map is stupid. That's dumb.
Which room? The room on the right?
Oh, I'm
The
so
room on
sorry. This one. There's a door to the north.
Okay.
But random generators, I guess, struggle with continuity, making sense. There is another way to get to that section, but it just wouldn't make fucking sense. You couldn't get to it here. Anyway, so this room back here is another little alcove. I would say probably the thing that stands out to you guys is that there is more of these large gears. You see springs, you see sheets of metal, more of these very odd looking tools. Of course, all of this is giant sized. It would be difficult for you guys to pick up any of the, it'd be like a big two-handed weapon to any of you. But just kind of more of these things you're not entirely sure what they're for. A lot of kind of steampunk looking parts sitting around in this room. And Demos, as you move in, you can see now a giant-sized grinding wheel and blacksmith. There are a multitude of gears, springs, parts, long rods. And you find, in this room, I think you would probably find laying amongst the rubble of this ruin, a very large, what looks very similar to a warforged forearm and hand, kind of scattered off into one corner.
So, question: does the creation forges that House Kenneth utilized, were they created? Were they built by Kenneth, or were they sites of, I don't know, power or something that they adapted? What is the?
I don't know. They must know that.
I was gonna see if I could make some type of history check or something, but if that would be outside of my scope of knowledge, then I will.
I think that would be something House Kenneth keeps very close to his chest.
I will muse that aloud to the party. It is interesting that this seems to be predates, obviously, the Warforged, I believe, that we, as we know them, and yet seems to be eerily similar in a number of ways. I'm wondering if this House to Kenneth's core claim to fame is something they've uncovered rather than discovered themselves.
I mean, I'd shrug, maybe kind of agree with you. The forearm's pretty interesting.
And it is giant scale as well, I imagine.
It is giant scale. So, forearms like as tall as Demos, really. Like,
That's cause
Well,
for concern.
So you said it looks like more like the things we fought than the things that House Canada's making, right?
and it is rusted and degraded, but it's difficult to tell if that was how it was made or it's just because that piece of arm has been laying here for 1,000 years.
Hey, A1, would you say this is more Warforged or Warforgery?
A1 takes a look at it. He might even, I don't think he was taught the Identify spell, actually.
Oh, I might know Identify.
And he says, it is difficult to tell, and he points out some kind of minor details in the fingers and in the joints of the hands and the wrists. And he says, the things that you brought back to the headquarters did not have such refined features in the small joints. This looks much closer to Warforged than those things.
Thank you, Steak Sauce. I appreciate that. Well, it looks like
Since Demos can see through the imaginary door here. I'm gonna undo some of this.
I like how you brought A1 down here for your plot point. Now we got to carry him around the whole rest of this dungeon.
He's been here the whole time. What are you talking about? He's always just like tinking after us,
Yeah, that means he'll be here when y'all get into some shit.
I popped in this little room because you mentioned it seemed like it might have been an observation area to see other rooms, but I'm curious how.
So, and yeah, I was afraid of that. So they don't have cameras. It's not modern day. You gather this seems to have been an area to keep anybody that had to come up this hallway would have been seen. Anybody that you had to pass through this area to get anywhere else. So it was more about keeping an eye on the main foot traffic area, so much as it was keeping an eye on other sections of the place. That being said, since you went in there and took a look around, I won't make you make a roll. Fuck, where did it go? You find a thing.
Magic gloves.
It's technically an amethyst lodestone. 1 second.
He branded making crude joke about lodestone.
I guess you would know what it does. So it's a fist-sized chunk of amethyst, kind of laying on what I would consider to be a desk, or I like to imagine the desk is made into the wall and it's made of stone, so it almost looks like a console built into a wall, but it's not. So, Randy, you do find a fist-sized chunk of amethyst just kind of laying there. Mostly probably easy to recognize because it's not dusty, chipped, and degraded like much of the rest of the room.
I'm gonna hold it up and say, this looks kind of fresh. I don't know why. It looks an awful lot like all that junk you're wearing down there, Zephyr. You want this?
I'll take it. Yeah.
Alright, but if it does anything cool, I want it back.
No problem, sir.
Don't forget you have that, Zephyr. You'll have to requires attunement, so you'll have to spend some time with it to learn what it does, or have one of your friends cast Identify on it. If you want to know what it does, don't forget you have it. Make a note, tattoo it on your heart or your forehead.
I'm gonna forget.
Alright, I'll come join my friend Demos.
It's a good thing this is recorded. Okay. So, what is that? A metal table? I think it is a metal table. A long time ago, I made this map. Sorry, I had to burp. More of the same. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do for the sake of the narrative, is I'm going to undo a pretty decent chunk of of what you guys have seen here.
Whoa.
Gonna undo a pretty. get some chunks going here. As you guys move into this area, it becomes fairly apparent. You see large metal tracks in the ceiling. You see tables, smithies, and racks full of tools. Even more tools than you found laying around before. It becomes apparent eventually, or excuse me, there are even more of the gears, the springs, the parts to these giant warforged. It becomes apparent rather quickly. You guys have stumbled upon the assembly line for these apparent giant warforged that were being created. And I would say that at this point you are even finding whole arms, legs. By the time you get over here to this section, you're finding torsos, legs, waist, and maybe even whole heads of what appear to be giant versions of Warforged. Their design looks much different than the Warforged that you guys know. From a aesthetic perspective, they're not a whole lot alike. But it's not too difficult to understand these seem to have been Warforged. They are made of these metal springs and rods and stuff you guys have found along the way. Let me see if there's anything particular y'all need to know in my notes.
I don't much like this.
Ravaged by time, I think I've made that clear.
Even if not, like in the back of my brain, if I was Randy, I would think these look a lot like the things that try to kill me. I got half of mine to cave this sucker in and leave.
Just waiting for the Dwarven Centurion to pop out.
Not yet.
Interesting. If they were producing them here, building them, was the shard what was providing them with their spark, with their animation? So many questions. Amos will also just have the quill, like, as he's like looking at some of these parts and like trying to scrutinize and get a gauge on them, just have them sketch out, I don't know, a rough diagram or illustration of a piece or two. Maybe one of the with some emphasis on the joints, like Steak's also saying.
I think Demos has like a 3/4 or halfway unfilled journal, and then like in the last 10 minutes he's filled like another half or 3/4 of the journal because the thing's just fucking going. Anybody else have questions, concerns, or comments before they move deeper in?
Let's go.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that bit.
No, I'm saying let's go.
Yeah,
Onward.
I don't think I have anything else I want to ask and know about.
Okay. So as you guys move into the next area, bloop. I will go ahead and Randy, you're correct. This little south corridor here does lead back to this caved-in area you saw earlier. But as you guys move into this area, there are now, you guys can see these things. They hold almost fully made. They look like giant-sized Warforged. Again, the architecture design looks much different. They don't look aesthetically similar. But these seems to be almost complete versions hanging from winches, from chains, like you saw back in the other room. You see a table full of tools. This particular room here seems to be a library. You find quite a few... Oh no, Devin! I fucked up a little bit. Alright, hold on a second. You do find several scrolls, quite a bit of physical paper written things in this room. It seems, I call it a documentation room in my head. It's like a mini library sort of in this room. I will say, because Devin forgot, in the previous rooms you guys just went through, you would have found several artifacts that Morgrave will pay you for. those gears I'm talking about, the arm, many of those things House Morgrave would pay you for and consider them artifacts. When we get through the end of this, whether that's tonight or next week, I will list out to you guys how many you got and what they're worth. In this room, particularly, Demos, particularly, you would notice these canisters. I guess it would be in the larger room. There is a rack full of canisters, is the best word I have for it. And if one of you went to tweak or to mess with them, it doesn't take you too long to determine that they are filled with gem dust. There are quite a few of these canisters.
Question.
Mhm.
Does the gem dust look to be the same color as the gem that we have seen?
No, I imagine gem dust to be opalescent. It's almost like white / opalescent. It would be gem dust like you would understand it after pulverizing a gem.
How many?
There are there are probably about 20 canisters. It might be difficult for you to determine on the fly how much each canister is worth in gem dust.
This is quite a bit of shit. With enough time, we could let's just say if somebody wanted to cast detect magic on us, we would look like a fucking disco ball. I'm just saying, like we can we can utilize a lot of this for a great number of things. I bet I could enchant part of a Spelljammer to cast Fireball. They most starts making notes of potential ideas of stuff to fuck with later.
Just looking at the bottomless well of gem dust, like I have no constraints on resources anymore. I could do whatever. I think I would look at the almost full-size Warforged. Maybe not comprehending the difference to avoid sounding racist, TM. Look at the rest of the party and be like, Vera made a big deal about these things and the fact they were making something kind of proprietary, and these ones are just chilling down here in a hole in the wall. That's kind of crazy, right?
Even the Warforged that House Cannith makes are inanimate until Dials actually provides them with that spark that makes them.
Those are auto notes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Y'all know
Warforged made it the
Warforged
creation forge.
in the creation forges, yes.
But I imagine, and again, I don't know what is too meta. I imagine it's the same process of they are built and then animated, as opposed to just like the whole process all at once. I know we don't necessarily know that, but
it's a guess.
Anyone that would like to can make a perception check for the rest of this room.
I have a -1 to that, so I will let anyone else.
Anybody can do it, so I'm gonna do it.
You don't you have a +0? Let's see if anybody else has a higher one before we go.
Wow, great. We're doing great.
You know what? I'm
room.
gonna twist the nat one a little bit. Drick's kind of unimpressed with the literature in that room and the tools and stuff. Gets kind of bored and almost like hockey stick style takes his Githka and smacks a big red gem. Like it smacks it, hits the wall, bounces off the wall, and kind of ricochets around the room for a second. Nothing bad happens, but it does draw your attention to something that is not dusty like everything else.
Is it the gem?
A gem.
It is now.
I reckon that's 2 gemstones we found that weren't dusty like everything else in this dank old cave. It's kind of weird, right?
Another lodestone.
Well, let's say I don't know if y'all are putting this in the party inventory, but please add an amethyst lodestone. Y'all don't know what that does, but I'm going to tell you the name so we can keep track of it. And a ruby weave gem to your party inventory, please.
I just imagine that feeds into like the bug background a little bit. Like, we don't see nothing like this where we come from, and we have no need or care for it.
And it's shiny, so Trix is like, pop! All right.
Does a 14 perception reveal anything? We all rolled like shit.
Oh wait, does somebody want to roll for Echo?
Oh, that's a good point. I forget he's not on mic.
I need to roll a perception, you said?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Please save us from these
1
terrible rolls.
second. Perception. Come on, +2. All right, a 4.
Oh man, we suck.
Oh god.
So I am going to roll Demos with your 14. I'm going to kind of DM Fiat that Demos does what all nerds do. He begins rifling through the written content in that little
That's
storage closet. And you actually find some fairly interesting stuff, even with a semi-low roll. Let me see here. You find for the Mulder. Okay, so Demos would not realize this is the first thing ever found, but Demos finds some written content pertaining to the orrery. Like I said, may not realize it immediately. He's the first person to find written content pertaining to the orrery.
Is it in Draconic, I assume?
Yeah, but you can read Draconic, can't you?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I just wanted to
It
make
is in
sure.
Draconic, yes, sir. So the blurb you're going to get with that 14 is that Draconic scholars theorize that the progenitors could have been guarding the orrery from an unknown threat when Kyber grew to covet it.
Sorry, I need to repeat that one more time.
Draconic
Generator.
Here, I got you.
Dragon.
Here, I'll put it in chat. I got you.
Thank you. Oh shit.
And you gather pretty quick as well. The 14, there is a good bit of information here that probably is related to the item, to the orrery, and to whatever they have going on here. Some kind of other with the 14. So that's the biggest piece you get with the 14. You also gather pretty quickly a lot of this is instructions to operate the forge itself.
Just skimming through, do I see anything about the activation of?
Not the activation. I would say you probably gathered that shard that was found was probably what powered the forge. You probably also, the last thing you would get, since you only roll a 14, is that the forge itself is just down the hallway here. Oh, you can't see.
The forge or the forged?
The forge, F-O-R-G-E.
Interesting.
Would you like to press on?
I mean, there's only one other thing to explore besides this, and that's that big, the blocked off chamber in the blocked off hallway in the main room.
I mean, I think we got to go back. I mean, we don't have to, but I'm assuming we got to go back that way to get out of this place, so we can always blow it on the way out.
True. No, I'm not opposed to going forward. I just, what we're about, if this site is as important as we believe it to be, that we should be cautious. There could be any manner of traps, or perhaps even still guards, as it were. Proceed with caution, is all I suggest.
Okay.
It's 2 at 5 to press forward to the west. Devin's directions suck. Anybody opposed?
I'm not opposed.
Also not opposed.
Interesting. All right. Y'all press onwards into, let me reveal this room for you guys. Spoiler alert, we're not staying on this map very long.
Excuse me?
And stutter. So here is the creation forge. I have a whole separate map for the forge itself.
Okay.
Bloop. So this was one of the very first, I images I generated on an AI to try to get a battle map. You know, obviously it struggles with grids and like actual battle maps, but with the ruler thing, that makes things easier. And this is one of the very first things I generated and decided to use as a battle map, which is why it looks a little funky. Pardon me for the funkiness, but you guys stroll into this room. I guess you're technically, I would do to the north, Joey. That's kind of how I imagine you guys entering. You guys see these massive, what I'm going to call vats. They're probably so high up above you, you can't tell if there is liquid inside of them, but you could maybe tell that they're open-topped. You see from these hanging from the ceiling these huge chains and hooks like you've seen earlier that were obviously made to raise and lower very heavy things down into these chambers or vats. There's the most conglomeration of tools here. This is supposed to be, hold on. Like I said, the AI struggles. This is supposed to be tables of tools and parts. And things of that nature, kind of now very well degraded into the to times passing, so to speak. And since you noticed the rigging that would lower things, you would all also notice on the ceiling, painted onto the ceiling, painted in paint that seems to have been mixed with gemstone dust. So the entire ceiling is taken up with this shimmering mural. A massive mosaic of Eberron and Kyber locked onto each other dominates the ceiling of the room, where the creation forge is. The body of a slain Sybaris can be seen strewn around the outside edges of the mural. And in the center, so I just imagine these dragons are kind of in a yin-yang like locked state. And in the middle of them, the center of the yin-yang, you see a oddly familiar spherical item that pretty closely resembles the orrery you all have in your possession.
Deimos will point this out. These are the progenitor dragons that created Eberron itself and the Ring of Sybaris around. Sybaris, the bluer dragon that sort of encompasses the perimeter, is
Yellow.
the one who's yellow. Excuse me. Really? I thought it was. Okay, sorry. Anyway, the yellow. This dragon was the one whose corpse creates the barrier and the storm of Sybaris that has prevented any travel beyond. Whereas Eberron, this dragon, and Kyber actually became the very earth we stand on. Kyber still remains as the meta-wise the equivalent of the Underdark, yeah? And fascinating. The orrery, as the notes I found suggest, seems to be the part of the reason that Kyber struck down Sybaris. In want of greed of it. Very
In the middle of Demos's lecture,
yeah.
you all watch his eyes turn glowing white. He seizes. Doesn't spasm, but seizes. Demos, you realize in a flash of insight, almost divine inspiration, as if an outside entity were slinging this knowledge into your head. You realize that the gemstone paint, this is painted in, shimmers, glows, and moves as a piece of draconic prophecy reveals itself to you in the mural above you. I will post that in chat for you guys to read. So you all are just, Demos is in the middle of lecturing, and then all of a sudden, and does his glowy eye thing. Y'all have seen him do before.
Randy was falling asleep until he heard the noise. He's like, "Oh, the lecture's over. What's going on?"
So Demos has his spasm for a moment. Some of you may be able to see it. It is Demos sees it the quickest because he studies this kind of thing. But I'd like to say, for any of you that look at the mural for long enough can tell that the shimmering, the way the paint is made, that it moves and changes a little bit. It is definitely not a natural paint or a natural mural. It almost, even to those of you that can't see the prophecy, it almost looks as if the dragons are circling each other. It is mildly creepy.
We're very creepy.
Maybe a little. Demos you come to, no longer seized by this force. Oh,
Putting it here so I won't lose it.
oh okay. I was like, huh?
Crown thyself with madness, those who hold the key. If the key is the orrery, we are the ones who hold it. I forget. We don't have. Do we have this with us? Called and give it back to us, right?
Not quite. He's gonna give it back to you when you get back. He's trying to finish an item that he hopes will make it less dangerous and slightly more usable.
Sisters killed sisters for its heavy plea. Question: are the progenitor dragons all female? Kind of pictured Siberi's female and the other two male, but I don't know if that's canonically or if that's just my.
I believe Eberron may be the only male. I'll have to check that.
Sisters killed sisters. Kyber did slay Siberi's. When there is no longer dragon above, which Siberi's often represented the sky, but that could also be referring to Eberron as the dragon above Kyber. Void will covet the key. Void is probably Kyber, who did covet the key. Some must step forth to champion life, lest Void herald endless strife. Interesting. Deimos actually takes the very large scroll off his back and unrolls it, and I think since he's found so much, uses a bit of the gem dust with his ink to transcribe this onto his special scroll.
You got out your. Is this the first time all campaign you've got out your Dryad scroll?
I think it's the first time I've directly had a piece of the prophecy. I know there was some on the Naga. Yeah, is that right?
Mhm.
But I don't think we got a direct I don't think we got a text from it. I think it was just called in.
No, y'all got a text. Y'all got a text from something. I don't remember what it is. Pretty sure it was that. It was singing a song that y'all got a text from. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, the Naga did sing. Yeah.
I don't remember if we actually knew what the song was, though, did we? I just remember there being runes on its body, and we knew it was protecting, obviously, this object that's important.
That was the song it was singing. It was the runes on his body. Y'all did get the little. Y'all did get what it was singing. I'll have to find that in my notes somewhere. I can put it in chat tomorrow or the next time probably when I'm rewatching session. If I'm being honest, pardon. Yeah. As you guys are checking on Demos, as as Demos is writing in this, y'all haven't seen him open, I don't think, his big ass scroll he carries around on his back. He opens up and begins to write. You guys hear a gurgling sound, and this ominous clank, hollow clank. This sounds like. Y'all may not know what that sounds like. Doesn't sound great. Sounds like organic matter clacking against other organic matter.
Organic?
Something like that.
Fleshy?
Not fleshy.
So inorganic.
Organic.
Organic implies.
Well, it'd be like a shell, maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty close. As you guys watch, where's my GM layer bullshit? I'm gonna reveal these first, and then I'll move them around. Bloop, bloop, bloop. As you guys have been in the room long enough now, as you watch the vats, I called them earlier, begin to bubble and overflow. This crimson red liquid bubbles out and oozes down off of the over the edges and down onto the floor, as these are large creatures, which is why their tokens are so big. These massive oozes ooze down, up and down and out of the vats, and you
Gross.
see gross. You see in the distance the clank of bone as and I'm not going to tell you the name of the other things, but this dragon that is entirely a skeleton rises up and clunk, clunk, clunks out of the darkness at the end of the chamber. This is a dragon bone golem. No one looked
Oh,
that
well,
up
that's
for your
lovely.
shitheads. Don't look up monsters because I told you the name.
For half a second, I thought it was a Draco Lich, and I'm like, oh, we fucked up.
No, dragon bone golem, which I thought was fucking cool. Clanks, the organic clank of organic matter was the bones clacking together. As it
Sort of say,
Jam-
organic clank is very nondescript. I don't
Yeah, I know.
appreciate that description.
I love confusing you guys. Clanks its way out of the darkness, and with that, we'll pick up there next week.